we are going to look at Tai Tzu Ying's racket, which is Victor Thruster TTY in this video, and we'll go through its specs as well as telling you how it feels and how it plays. Let's go. As far as I can remember, Tai Tzu Ying has been with Victor all her playing career, and as Victor is a Taiwanese brand too, it made perfect sense for Victor to produce a flagship model racket for their flagship badminton player. Obviously, TTY, or Xiao Tai as her fans affectionately called her, is a singles maestro, often referred to as the player with the best deceptive game as well as shot variety in women's singles. Having been highly ranked for so long on top of the world rankings is no mean feat. Many of you will have seen the interviews I've done with Xiao Tai, which shows her super funny and chatty side, especially when it comes to her playing equipment. So this video is a good opportunity to take a deep dive into her current racket. Some of the previous rackets that Tai Tzu Ying played with before this Thruster TTY was the Thruster F Claw, and before that it was the Thruster F in blue. They're all head-heavy rackets, and as Tai is a singles player, it made sense. Out of the three badminton rackets that I've just mentioned, I've only tried two, the current Thruster TTY and the Thruster F Claw. And although I don't have one with me here today, I remember the F Claw being quite head heavy and packs a punch. Not the easiest of rackets to play with, especially for doubles, but for singles, it's pretty good as the racket head weight helps carry the shots back out into court and provides that extra racket face stability. So the main question is, now that Victor has named this new generation Thruster TTY behind Xiao Tai, is it actually as good as the actual TTY herself? In terms of looks, the purple and white goes incredibly well with each other, and Tai's motto of believe in yourself, or 相信自己 in Mandarin, was present on both the shaft and at the top of the racket frame. But I'm actually surprised that 相信自己 in Mandarin wasn't present on the racket itself. Also, many of you will have noticed the slightly more traditional racket frame shape from the Thruster TTY too. Many modern rackets have a more slightly square or isometric racket shape, but the Thruster TTY still have that slightly more egg shape, which showcases a taller racket frame. And speaking about the frame, we'll also find what Victor describes as a tri-formation frame, where three different types of racket frame shapes are present, starting with the sleeker sword shape at the very top and followed by a more rounded recessed frame in the middle and ending with a more boxy frame at the bottom. I have also noticed that on the European model of the Thruster TTY, the grommets have raised lettering on them, whilst the Asian or Taiwanese variant didn't. Not that you'll see it very easily, as it's a white grommet on a white racket. Also, the European variant will come with a stock grip, whereas the Taiwan variant comes with a completely blank free core handle, and you're supplied with a grab instead. In terms of the free core handle, the Thruster TTY is definitely sporting the power ring within it, as you can see the red caps within the semi-transparent cone cap there. Also, the Thruster TTY doesn't have any single pass grommets on the top of its racket's frame and only have shared grommets. This is a bit uncommon, as most modern flagship rackets have a few rows of single pass grommets at the top. We'll find out if this changes how the racket feel later in the video. In the meantime, remember to protect your precious Thruster TTY from chips and scratches with the premium racket protection tape from ck-tty.com/shop. Free delivery worldwide. In terms of specs, I measured the Thruster TTY to have a shaft diameter of 6.7mm, which is identical to the Thruster F Enhanced I measured previously, and both are by far the thinnest shaft I've measured thus far for Victor badminton rackets, except the Drive X Metallic, of course, which has an even thinner shaft. Be sure to subscribe, as I'll be publishing the DX10 Metallics comparison video soon. Continuing with the Thruster TTF's shaft length, the TTY came in at 20.7cm shaft length, which actually is the shortest shaft for Victor badminton rackets, measured on my channel too. In comparison, the Thruster Ruger Metallic, I recently reviewed here of course, has a shaft length of 22cm. In terms of racket frame, the Thruster TTY have a racket frame height of 24.2cm and is 18.4cm wide. This makes the TTY slightly taller than usual for its frame size, which also helps with having a slightly larger sweet spot, I guess. In terms of frame thickness, the Thruster TTY measured in at 10.6mm thick around the 3 and 9 o'clock region, and the frame thickened to around 11.4mm at the 10 and 2 o'clock region. In terms of the recessed frame profile area for the TTY, it was also slightly unique as it wasn't only the top half recessed or fully recessed, it was only 2/3 recessed. And finally for the racket handle, it was a free-core handle which measured in at 17cm. I also believe the Thruster TTY is only available in 4U G5 spec and is rated to 31 pounds for stringing tension. I had mine strung to my usual tension of 27 by 29 pounds for testing and it had no issues whatsoever. Additionally, here are some swing weight measurement numbers on a couple of configurations with the Thruster TTY. So, how does it feel? Honestly, I felt like I was imagining and watching Tai Tzu Ying play when it was actually me swinging the racket around on court during a game. I'm not sure if that was only me because I've probably watched too much badminton, but that was how I felt when I was playing, especially during certain shots when I was digging out from the rear court. In terms of feel, the Thruster TTY does have a fairly unique feel where I would consider it to be a medium stiff, as it's not exactly a hard or stiff feeling racket, but a rather more medium stiff, solid feel. I do like that solid feel when you hit the shuttle, as it gives you confidence that makes you feel you're able to control the shuttle well. You all know I'm a fan of the free core handle, as I do think it makes rackets easier for us amateurs to play with, but it does make rackets feel slightly softer with the additional flex, at least from my experience of course. But the shorter shaft in this instance makes the TTY feels pretty sharp and reactive with not a lot of whip, similarly to rackets with longer shafts. I also want to say that there's plenty of easy power with this Thruster TTY, and obviously so, as this racket was developed and marketed as Tai Tzu Ying's racket. Everyone knows that Xiao Tai is a singles player and would also imagine this racket to be aimed at singles players too. So the good amount of head weight on the TTY doesn't surprise me, and as someone who does like a bit of head weight, the TTY is pretty pleasant to play with. But don't expect it to be identical to an ultra nimble, super fast headlight racket like the original Aura Speed 90K, as the TTY does have a bigger head, which certainly makes it just a little bit slower than the fastest rackets on the market. Also, perhaps of the taller frame size, I felt that the sweet spot contact point on the TTY to be slightly different to what I'm normally used to. I only felt this when I swapped rackets over, but after a while you'll quickly get used to the hitting feeling and will be able to adjust fairly comfortably. In terms of head heaviness comparison, I felt the TTY to be head lighter than my usual Yonex Astrox 88D Pro, but I then realized Victor's racket matrix showed the TTY to be slightly head lighter than the Thruster F Enhance, which I don't necessarily agree. If it was up to me, I would actually swap both the positions, with the TTY just a little bit head heavier compared to the Thruster F. But from what I can see on my specs measurements spreadsheet, based on the numbers, the TTY and the Thruster F do share quite a few similarities, and I do rate the Thruster F very, very highly. In summary, this Thruster TTY is a nice racket with a lot of easy power and a nice solid hitting feeling. It also has a pretty stable racket face with good response to off-time shots, so it's a pretty handy racket to have in your bag for those off days too. And finally, it could also make you feel like you're playing like Xiao Tai on court too, and that's a bonus. Who wouldn't want to have the skills and technique that Xiao Tai has? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.